I will open the council meeting for the 18th of May. Taku, will you lead us in our karakia to start with? Thank you. Reminder to use your microphones this morning, seeing we're live streamed. I've got apologies from Councillor Johnson, so I'll move that. Seconded by Councillor Duncan. All those in favour? All those against? Carried. We've got public forum this morning. Derek Rolls from the Little Goat. Would you like to come up, Derek, up here? Thank you. Just put your microphone on. Yep, the floor is yours.
Thank you. For those that don't know me, my name's Derek Rolls. I co-own and operate the Little Goat kiosk down here in Cobham Court. We've been here near 7 years now, and since it was built, we've had problems with the sewage and drainage to a point where, if not daily, weekly, at least one or more of the toilets will block. It'll overflow, come out onto the footpath, run into the roadside, which then flows into the creek. We've been dealing with property on and off over this time, trying to resolve it. We know that they've made certain efforts. Nothing has happened to date, or nothing has resolved those problems. So it's mainly to make you all aware that this problem does exist, it is still going on, and it's really something that needs to be addressed. I know property of calling in certain other experts at the moment. Let's see where that goes over the next week or so. The other concern is the cost of ratepayers. Every time there's a blockage, the plumbers get called out. So it's an ongoing thing. It affects us directly in two ways. One, customers come around, they think it's our facilities. They abuse us, saying, sort out your toilets. They're a state, they're blocked, whatever the case may be. But also, all the internal drainage is linked. So when there's a flood outside, we get water seeping up into our building. Now, we were a food business. Now, we've learned to manage it, but it's not acceptable, really. I've contacted many health organisations. They direct us back to council, hence our contact and work with the property team. So really, it's just an awareness. It's probably time to, once these experts come back with whatever ideas they might have this time, to reassess the purpose of that building and look at options going forward. I think it's an ideal time to be doing that. So, thank you. Any questions?
Yep, any questions? Ross?
Can I ask officers or the Chief Executive? I understood that this is being dealt with and that Council has undertaken to separate the two systems and to put in place some things around that in terms of the operation of your business. Is that true?
That is right. It will take a little time to implement all of that, but yes, that's right.
Any other questions from anyone? Jeff?
To the response from the CE, again asking officers, how certain are we of the time frame in terms of resolution or potential resolution of these issues?
Not tremendously, but it will be, as I understand it, will be 2 or 3 months fix. We have to get somebody to do the work. It does have to be designed before it's done. It's not a huge job, but getting somebody to do it is a little bit of an issue right now. So yes, that's the kind of time frame we're talking.
Kylie?
Thanks, Derek. You mentioned you've been there 7 years. How long has this particular issue been happening for?
Since day one. The first month of being there, we had a major flood, and there's been lots of attempts to resolve it. There was part of the design I feel was inadequate. It'd be interesting to see if the current standards meet today's standards. So there has been attempts to resolve it. Admittedly, some of the people in the area do not make the job any easier. They constantly put all sorts of stuff down and it overflows. But that's saying, how was it managed? And when does it go through? Now, we haven't even had, thanks to Wendy, but talking to Vic Friday, he's still looking for someone to come and assess and look at what groundwork is in there. So we're nowhere near even considering what's going to go forward. We know what the ideal solution would be. This is not about the fourth time that's come about. The cost will be significant. They're going to rip up all the floors. So it's not a quick fix, and it costs a cheap one. So that's what I'm saying. Look at it. I threw an idea out to Vic just in passing over the weekend. Why don't get rid of all of us, because there's 2 tenancies, we've taken on both tenancies, reconvert that, repurpose it to toilets the whole block. Ideal time to be doing it. If you're going to be spending a lot of money digging up all the pipes, why not do that? Then there's no interruption to any food business that could be there. No, we bend over backwards to provide a good service. And hygiene is critical. We've not had any problems. You can check with the health team. But that's due to our diligence. And every time there's a hint of something going wrong, we lock it all down, we sanitise, and we take those precautions. It's getting to a point where so much is enough, that's all.
Okay, Taku?
Yeah, just flagging that, we unveiled or commenced work on the new pump over there yesterday morning. And as usual, Ngāti Toa has a real concern what goes into the harbour. So it's just a friendly reminder to us all. Something needs to be done.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thank you for coming in,
Thank
Derek. Appreciate it. Okay, have I got any conflicts of interest declarations? No. Move to the confirmation of minutes from the 30th of March. I'll move it to put it on the table. Seconded by Councillor Leggett. Any issues with anyone? All those in favour? All those against? Carried. Mayor's report, not too long. We haven't been back since Easter. It seems like a long time ago. Obviously, we've been busy with our annual plan consultation. We had the FIFA Football Council tournament where we beat Upper Hutt in the final, mainly thanks to our goalie Izzy, I have to say. Of course, Nathan, Tracy, Grace and myself and Kylie were on the field, but I have to say the goalie did the job. I attended the genealogy group celebration along with the Porirua Little Theatre's Fame, which was put on by their junior performers. I've had the Whitby Tennis Club prize giving, the Kings and Queens dinner at the Pines, and this year they added Prince and Princesses because there's been so many people come out in the community. It was an awesome event. We had a fantastic day to celebrate Anzac Day, and the Remembrance Army unveiled 7 extra headstones at Porirua Cemetery. They think that's the last of them. I chaired my first mayoral forum in Carterton, where we mostly agreed on issues in the region, so that's going to be interesting going forward. Last week was our first Pacific flag raising for the Rotaman community. Joined them for a dance celebration at Pātaka on Saturday, and my dancing is not getting any better. Joined Corinna School for the Inspiring Futures event, and we've got a couple of those coming up where the kids have to guess your job and what you do, which was really interesting with 20 quickfire questions. Really enjoyed that one as well. The refugee community joined their launch of their photo exhibition at Pātaka. It's highly recommended. Go and have a look at the pictures and read the stories. Kylie and I had morning tea with the work experience students who are working for council this term. So the council's got them once a week for term 2, and they're working right across council. And they seemed like a great bunch of kids. The Pacifica Leadership Symposium and Expo was on Tuesday with a really good turnout. They had Minister Edmonds as their guest speaker. Then we had the blessing, obviously, of the wastewater storage tank yesterday. Awesome to see it actually starting. And then the youth mayoral forum yesterday with the youth, and that was just fantastic. Really good to see a start. Let's hope we can do things going forward. So that's it from me. Taku.
One from Chile and one from Canada have come down to have a look at some of the systems and the activities that we've been up to, just to see if they can take some knowledge home and work within their own communities to improve their lives and their well-being moving forward. Just a point of notification for the middle of the month. We might miss a meeting for next month. A group of bones will be repatriated from Germany to Papa perform that role, and so they're bringing a big group of bones and skulls back that were taken there in the early 1800s, and along with it, the museum has found a life mask of one of our chiefs, Winera Tukanai, and what they did back then was they did these life masks with hot, and they moulded faces, and then they took them back to Europe. And so they had sort of faces back then of people, indigenous people from different countries. They never had Zoom or photo cameras or whatever. And so this has been there since 1879. And so whoever from council would like to come in, we're going to the repatriation, and it's going to be quite a significant event for Ngāti Toa. We're in correlation with Reuben and Anna and that, and they've been really good around supporting us because we want to place it with Whiti Te Reo with our Ngāti Toa. He was our last living chief, Winera Tukanai. So there, just a bit of FYI.
Thank you. Committee recommendations. Councillor Trillin first for the 20th of April.
Thank you, Mayor Baker. I'd move that Council adopt the committee recommendations of Te Puna Kōrero on the 20th of April 2023.
Seconded by Councillor Hayward. All those in favour? All those against? Carried. Councillor Leggett.
Thank you, Mayor Baker. I'd like to move the recommendations of the Te Puna Kōrero meeting of the 4th of May.
Okay, seconded by Councillor Trillin. All those in favour? All those against? Carried. Right, first report, 11.1. Delegate to the Joint Committee to prepare the wastewater management and minimisation plan. Move it to get it on the table, seconded by Councillor Hayward. Right, discussion on this. Would you like to hear from an officer? Straightforward. Yep. Okay, any questions? No? Okay, all those in favour? Those against? Carried. 11.2, Council Land Holdings Review Disposal Portfolio. Move it to put on the table, seconded by, thank you, Councillor Ford. Open for discussion? Yes, Councillor Hayward.
Just thank you, kura matua, me he mihi ki ngā kai kana heta katoa. He pātai, I just want to check with regards to the disposal process. Is Council aware that whether it is likely that any of the properties that have been that are on the resolution are likely to be picked up by the descendant or the owner or the descendant of the last living owner? To make that, just trying to make that clearer at this stage, because I just want to figure out whether or not this is actually whether or not that's we have to go through that process, obviously, but I'm just trying to clarify whether or not there's going to be an impediment to the next step of the process.
Through you, Mayor Baker. No, we don't know the answer to that yet. We're yet to make an informal offer to Lynn's first. And we're going to do that informally before we do the formal, but most of those, majority of those go back to most of them go back to the Crown first. Some of them we haven't worked out those previous owners yet. So we haven't had those conversations.
Sorry, Councillor Duncan.
Yeah, so this consultation was carried out 7 years ago. Is there a statute of limitations on how long that consultation lasts for? Because I note in a lot of the submissions at the time, people were complaining that residents hadn't been consulted and not enough residents around the area had been consulted. And I wonder, and I'd assume that now there'd be quite a lot of new people around those places. And so is that a game changer for us?
Through you, Mayor Baker. The resolutions to uplift the reserve classifications were undertaken from 2018 through to 2021, so they are no longer reserve. So that did happen after those initial resolutions. but there is no statutory. Once you've declared it surplus, you've declared it surplus.
My second question relates to the deal to offer it to Ngāti Toa at a market valuation. Now, I think the exercise we went through with Motor Karaka Point shows that the only way to get a true market valuation is to put it straight to the market. So I'm not sure that, and I wonder if it isn't a conflict of interest for Ngāti Toa anyway, since they are our partners in this, and if we're going to be offering a deal to them, if that's fair.
It's not a conflict of interest. I guess the Motu Karaka property was a wee bit of a different sort of property. You'd have to say a lot of these are not that attractive, shall we say, to the market. So they are inclined to be smaller lots. Some of them will be a little bit difficult to develop. Some of them, one in particular, adjoins Whitidea. So there are some, I'm not sure that Ngāti Toa will be interested in all of them, but there is likely to be some they will be interested in. And yeah, but it's not a conflict of interest.
Anyone else? Councillor Hayward.
Sorry, forgot to bring this up earlier. Site 22, for those keeping track, page 24. I've never actually understood whether it's called Arene or Arene, so I appreciate the clarification on that. But the question I have is, do officers have any clarity as to whether or not the possibility of a land transfer is still live since the this has been brought up to notice? I just want to just reconfirm that part of the process.
We haven't raised that as a potential during those discussions yet, but we just did a bit of a survey and went, what sort of land have we got in that area if we did need to step through to a land exchange process?
Yep.
To that, it would seem weird that if the other party is watching right now, kia ora, they will know now. Is that perhaps the best way of approaching negotiation, by not necessarily talking about that before we have this put in paper on notice for the public?
It is just an option that's in there to allow that to happen if that is suitable in that instance. It's not saying they are going to accept it or anything. It's just an option to leave us a bit of wriggle room with some of these decisions.
Okay, thank you. No more questions.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay. All those in favour? All those against? Carried. I move we go into public excluded, seconded by Councillor Trillin. All those in favour? All those against? Carried.